Gabos, let's get right to it.
Us about your departure from ESPN?
Yeah, I mean, look, it all started really good a
Right.
few years ago. We can go back to 2019, 3 years ago. ESPN gave me a new contract. I'd already been there with the jump.
Hmm.
And in the contract was that I was going to host the NBA Finals. And you guys
Run!
have known me for years.
Yes.
I have covered this sport for decades. The idea that I was going to host the NBA Finals, that was
Everything to you.
my dream job.
That was
It
gonna be
meant
your first time
that
doing
was
it?
going to be my first time doing it. It just it meant the world. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
called every executive involved personally to thank them. I mean, I was so excited. They put everything in writing in the contract. They put out a big press release about it. One of the things I asked for in the contract was that any pregame show I did would be a continuation of our daily show, The Jump, because it was something we started
Our baby.
together. I was so proud of. And I just also didn't want any confusion. There's a lot of politics at ESPN, and I knew that the
course.
NBA Countdown job was still open,
It's all
and I
politics,
didn't
bro.
want anyone to think that I was trying to horn in on NBA Countdown. I wasn't. I wanted to stay with the jump. It was important to me. So I thought making that distinction would really help things.
What changed on how you felt in the workplace?
Well, things got complicated later that
a good
season.
question.
Y'all know it was 2020, right?
Yeah.
So
Pandemic.
World was
we had a pandemic.
crazy spot.
Yeah.
There was the tragic murder of your friend, George
Mhm.
Floyd. A lot of difficult conversations with this country looking itself in the face,
Thanks.
seeing what had to change and be different. And the New York Times did an expose in July of 2020 on racism at ESPN and the lack of opportunities for people of color. And
And that was one thing that was high end, bro. That was one thing where the whole nation was just looking to be woke in the obviously the crazy killing of George Floyd. Everybody was all in on Black Lives Matter. Everybody was trying to be woke and fit in. So anything that was viewed as racist, anything that was even viewed as any type of criticism towards blacks, you were just getting canceled. So I remember that time. It wasn't that long ago, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys can relate and remember that. But yeah.
And the executives at ESPN said what I think people would expect, all the right things about we'd like to give more people more opportunities. We're continuing to grow, all of those things. And around the same time, I got a phone call asking me, would I step aside for Maria to host the NBA Finals and have me go back to being a sideline reporter? And they stressed it was my choice. They weren't telling me to do this because it was in my contract, but they were putting a lot of pressure on me. You know, I was being told, well, you're not a team player. Like, hey, I worked
Wow.
so long, decades for this job. I have done everything that was asked. We put on some great shows leading up to the playoffs,
That's a fact.
and I wanted a chance to do it. And
That's
at
a
this time,
fact.
I was also getting ready to leave for the bubble and went down there, and it was a
Yo, who
different
put-
set of equipment than I had been using to broadcast at home. So my very first day, I'm there, I'm using the new equipment, and I didn't know that if you leave a particular app running in the background, that the line from my hotel room, looking into my hotel room to Bristol, would stay open. So I thought I was done for the day. I did the things you would do on your first day in a hotel room. I spent hours unpacking, called my husband, talked to my kids, called some friends, called my doctor. And unfortunately, that entire time, nobody back at ESPN told me that there was an open line to my hotel room and anyone who looked at the feed could see me. No one shut it off. Decided, oh, she clearly doesn't know she's being watched unpacking or doing all these other things.
Wow.
And at least one person decided to just sit and watch and started spying on me like
What
I
the
was their
hell?
own personal television show. And when they
Wow.
heard something they thought was juicy, they picked up their cell phone and they started recording my conversation on their cell phone.
Here's the crazy thing, right? Because Rachel Nichols was around the game of basketball, as you saw in the beginning, for years. And I remember vaguely the situation with her. Like, she ended up getting canceled around the time of the bubble, because of like these racial allegations. It was, the line was kind of murky, but ESPN had released her contract, terminated her, got rid of her. And I just remember from the outside looking in that there was like this stigma that she was a part of the casualties of the whole Black Lives Matter movement. Like she was one of those people that got caught saying some racial shit, and they just completely fired her and just moved on. But this story that she's saying, like, that sounds like a lawsuit, bro. Like, what?
A personal conversation?
Yeah, this was a conversation
Wow.
between me and a friend. We talked about a lot of different things. But then he brought up the article that had been in the paper about the lack of opportunities for people of color at ESPN. And we started talking about how my situation may intersect with some of the race and gender history of a network.
Now they
that
care.
is, again, well documented, is complicated history with both of those kinds of things and those issues. So we started talking about it, and I want to try to get, if I have it here, exactly what I said, because I think there's a lot of confusion over that, and there's been a lot of bad headlines.
So let's get it clear.
So let's just get it clear.
Right.
So here it is. I called Maria Taylor incredibly talented. Then I said, I wish Maria Taylor all the success in the world. She covers football, she covers basketball. If you need to give her more things to do because you, ESPN, are feeling pressure about your crappy long-time record on diversity, which, by the way, I know personally from the female side, well, then go for it. Just find it somewhere else. You're not going to find it from me taking my thing away. This is in my contract. This job is in my contract.
So this is the situation that we have. Like, yo, it's such a dirty business, bro. So because of the climate change in racial diversity and trying to give people, now black people, a fair opportunity in wake of George Floyd's passing, ESPN now puts her in a situation where it's kind of like a lose-lose if you're Rachel Nichols. Because it's like she's been working her ass off to get this one position, to get this one job, and it's in her contract. So now you're trying to force another, like, you know, I guess an employee or her partner or someone she works with to take her position, all because of now you guys care about the diversity of color and giving women equal opportunity. So now you're trying to get rid of Rachel Nicole to replace her with a black woman to cover the NBA finals, and she's earned it. She's been doing this thing for years. Honestly, as fans, you really don't know how big of a deal it is for some of these people to have these opportunities on such a big platform. Because to us, we're just here to watch the game. But to them, they've worked their whole lives here. And then on the side of the spectrum, you have the other reporter who they tried to replace her with. I forgot Shorty's name. But it's like, wow, you're giving her a handout because somebody died. So if George Floyd didn't happen, would you guys be incentivized to try to do this to Rachel Nichols? And then to have somebody spy on her, release it to the media to try to create this headline that she's racist and use that as a reason to fire her. So now, well, since you don't want to be a team player, we're just going to get rid of you. But now we just need it. Yo, I'm telling, yo, bro, on another subject, it goes to show what these people will do just to get rid of you behind the scenes. Like that Draymond Green incident, where the video got released and they were trying to say someone from the video department went rogue. But a lot of people feel like the Warriors had something to do with that. A lot of people think that the Warriors wanted to release that footage to make Draymond Green look bad, you know, so they could, so that could validate why they didn't give him a contract. Now, don't get it twisted. Draymond Green ain't no angel by any stretch of the imagination. But just to all of a sudden go rogue, and when do team practice fights ever get released to the media? You know, and by releasing it, it's like you make Draymond look horrible because, I mean, let's be honest, like, we're not trying to absolve him of any accountability. He did what he did. But for the footage to get released was wild, bro. And now, like, ESPN would do that to Rachel Nichols. First of all, that sounds like a lawsuit, bro. You got someone spying in on me while I'm changing, while I'm having private conversations with my husband. Like, that's such an invasion of privacy. And then to use that as a reason to get rid of her, and then also label her or throw her in the mix of racial controversy as a reason to why you let go of her. Wow. ESPN, y'all boys is trash. That was a trash move, man. That was a trash move. And shout out to all the Smoke, Steven Jackson, and Matt Barnes for that dope content. Because honestly, bro, I'm just a consumer. Like the rest of us, bro. I'm on the outside looking in. Sometimes we just read a headline like, damn, she racist? Ah, well. But not really sit there and do the research to get behind the depth of what's really going on. And for her to say all that, I'm swayed. I believe Rachel Nichols. I believe her. I mean, leave in the comment section what you guys think about that whole situation. But I believe her because this is how these corporations work, bro. They don't really care about none of the movements. They care where the dollars are at, bro. Anything that affects the dollars, you're out of here. It's politics. It is. It really is, bro. It really is. But I appreciate you guys for locking in, man. I rock with you if you rock with me. It's your boy Gabos. You know what I mean? Let me know what you think. See y'all next time, you heard?